Hey, this is going to be a real bummer of a video, so if you're not up for that today, totally skip this one. But it's something that I kind of feel like I need to make a video about because I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about it on YouTube yet. Mostly a lot of discussion on Twitter, and we do have this post from Will, D&D Shorts. Hasbro are firing another 900 people. And I want to cut it off right there and actually say, according to everything else, I've seen it's another 1,100 people. WotC folk included right before Christmas. No warning at all, man. Imagine not even holding out to the new year so these people could have Christmas. Corporations don't care. I hope those who got hung out to dry today will find work soon with better, smaller teams that will treat them with the respect they deserve. And here's the headline from the Wall Street Journal. Hasbro cutting 1,100 jobs after sluggish toy sales persist into holiday season. CEO Chris Cox says challenging conditions expected to stretch into next year, prompting another round of layoffs. And this is in addition to the 800 layoffs earlier this year. Yeah, it's just sad. And I want to talk about this because when the OGL controversy happened, that was very sad, and you couldn't get away from news about it. It was being talked about by huge gaming YouTube channels that don't normally ever talk about D&D, and it was on mainstream news. I'm pretty sure it was MSNBC and even NPR did a piece about the OGL controversy. It was wild, and sadly, I don't think this is going to get nearly that amount of coverage because at the end of the day, it's just another big corporation laying off a ton of people. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of the people who were laid off, and I'm just going to read through the huge company-wide memo that went out from Hasbro CEO Chris Cox about why they had to do this. So the first person I want to mention has a face that I'm almost certain you'll recognize. We have Amy Dallin. She's been working, or at least a member of the D&D Beyond team for a couple years now. I actually want to open this here.
Hello and welcome to D&D Beyond. My name is Amy Dallin, and I'm really just stretching that out to enjoy it because it's the first time I have gotten to say that, because I am now part of the team here at Phantom Tabletop and at D&D Beyond, and I'm so excited, Joe! Oh my God!
I'm so excited that you're here! Welcome! You can just introduce yourself again if you want. They know me.
Small example, very small example. But Amy was one of these people with just a seemingly permanent sunny disposition, and it's so baffling to me that when this company is it's gone through so many little things and a couple huge, PR disasters over the course of this year, that they would get rid of the people who are just so kind and positive and likable. And we have another one, a name that you probably recognize, if not the face, Dan Dillon. So he was a designer on Tasha's Cauldron, Fizz Bands, Monsters of the Multiverse, Bigby Glory of the Giants, The Book of Many Things, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, Theros, Van Richten's Ravenloft, Strixhaven, Spelljammer, Planescape, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, just to name a few. I'm almost certain he's done more than that. And with D&D being the huge part of why Hasbro is even still existing in 2023, it is crazy to me that they're getting rid of people like that. So now we're going to take a look at the letter from CEO Chris Cox, and probably shortly into it, we're going to take a little aside to learn a little bit about Chris Cox just as an employee of Hasbro. Team. You know how every company's a team now? Anyway, a year ago, we laid out our strategy to focus on building fewer, bigger, better brands and begin the process of transforming Hasbro. Since then, we've had some important wins like retooling our supply chain, improving our inventory position. Interesting side note on this, I actually found out just before this layoff news happened that some of the terrain and token products put out by Wizards of the Coast this year have showed up in specifically Ollie's, which is a US based, I believe, kind of warehouse fire sale kind of store. So offloading a ton of inventory is maybe what he means there. But the market headwinds we anticipated have proven to be stronger and more persistent than we planned. While we're confident in the future of Hasbro, the current environment demands that we do more, even if those choices are some of the hardest we've had to make. Today, we're announcing additional headcount reductions as part of our previously communicated strategic transformation, affecting approximately 1,100 colleagues globally in addition to the roughly 800 reductions already taken. So maybe this is where we need to pause and talk about the leadership team for a second. Not the team, not like, I'm not drilling on these people, but rather the positions that they hold within the company and how this being such a difficult decision feels disingenuous. So let's just pop over to this Dicebreaker article where we learned Chris Cox first stepped into the role of Hasbro CEO in February 2022 and now earns an annual salary of $1.5 million. That's probably pretty typical for CEOs. I really don't know. But he received $9.4 million in total compensation last year. So when they talk about it being such a hard position to cut the jobs of these 1,000 plus people, I just can't take that seriously at all. Because this is just one guy. The leadership team in general is probably a single-digit number of employees who make like half the money, or I should say consume like half the money that the rest of those employees are actually generating for the company. So why now? We entered 2023 expecting a year of change, including significant updates to our leadership team, structure, and scope of operations. We anticipated the first 3 quarters to be challenging, particularly in toys where the market is coming off historic pandemic-driven highs. Yeah, because corporations saw that huge explosion of growth in D&D and toys over the pandemic and probably thought, oh yes, of course, we'll be able to continue this growth sustainably in years to come. To position Hasbro for growth, we must make sure our foundation is solid and profitable by getting rid of the kind and intelligent, creative people who made us all this money in the first place. Obviously, that was not actually a quote. Let's get back to it. To do that, we need to modernize our organization and get even leaner. And there is definitely a line here where a wittier person than I could contrast the idea of getting leaner with the growing fat on corporate greed that we're obviously seeing here. So I don't know. Maybe the leaders did take a huge pay cut, but you'd think they would have mentioned that if they did. You'd think they'd be like, hey, by the way, we're also taking a huge hit here. Given the state of our business, it's a lever we must pull to keep Hasbro healthy. Like literally just a trap door dumping out this 1,000 people. Okay, what else are we doing? I know this news seems especially difficult during the holiday season. Yeah, while we value each of our team members, they aren't just employees, they're friends and colleagues. But no, like you don't do this to your friends. Really? Oh man. We decided to communicate now so people have time to plan and process the changes. Okay, yeah. For those employees affected, we are offering comprehensive packages, including job placement support to assist in their transition. I don't even know if that's worth being called a silver lining on such a horrible situation, but I'm glad they're offering something, some jargon, and then in the coming weeks, let's support each other and lean in to drive through these necessary changes so we can return our business to growth and carry out Hasbro's mission. Thanks, Chris. So I guess the point of me making this bummer video was to, yes, let people know that this is happening because I don't think it's going to show up in a lot of YouTube videos. I could be wrong. And just really drill down on the fact that this was not a necessary change. And if it was, it's because you hired a ton of people on the ridiculous vision that the growth seen during the pandemic would continue indefinitely. And now I can't even remember if I mentioned this at the top of the video, but what I said during the OGL controversy was that I'll continue to support games that I find fun. So yeah, my group has been playing this low-level, heavily homebrewed 5e game throughout the year, but I haven't purchased any new official D&D books because I've been looking at them a lot more critically. I have played over a dozen other RPGs this year, and I'm going to be making a video kind of soon to talk about some of those and recommend them. But I guess I just can't emphasize enough that enjoy the D&D 5e books that you have, and just realize though that there are dozens, hundreds, probably thousands really, of independent RPG creators that can supply you with a game that will bring your table just as much fun and joy as the big one, probably for a lot less money and with none of this baggage. The only issue is that, yes, it does take time to learn a new system. So that's why I've been trying to, funnel in some videos about new stuff from time to time. But I hope you also understand that as a creator, in the D&D/RPG space, this is all very complicated. Like, I literally got a comment today from somebody bashing me for making a D&D video, when 80% of the actual video was about rules from DCC. But I used D&D in the title and thumbnail because that's what people click on. So maybe that like makes me a hypocrite throughout all of this, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Besides, do what's fun for you and your group. That is the spirit of my channel, as I said during the OGL controversy as well, and it will continue to be going forward. So support whatever games you get the most fun out of, but I guess understand that there is more information to take into account when supporting different companies. That's kind of it. So thank you for your support and keep building.